Good day. My name is Lori. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters, and this is Blabfest Friday, number 15. I have been busy this week. Those pot holders that I didn't have done, they were they weren't really a fabric. They were a put together thing to cross stitch on. So Dan did some cross stitch on them. I showed them to you before in the bag. And they were white terry cloth. They were quilted. So I just covered up the white with some fabric. I removed all the parts on the front. And then I used bias binding all around. And those are both finished. I'm going to give them a quick wash in the washing machine like I do all my quilts. And then I'm going to take them to Michigan with me later on, so that I have some nice new pot holders in the cabin. I'm glad to have that done. They were just sitting around, but they are so cute. I also picked some fabrics. Yeah, I didn't get the blocks done, but I did pick some fabrics for my We Are Quilters and so much more wall hangings that I'm planning on doing for here and in Michigan, so that I have one in each of my sewing rooms. I am planning on doing a Delectable Mountains with the leaf fabrics to represent the mountains in West Virginia. I am planning on doing a rolling stone block for the middle, and that is where I'm going to put the We Are Quilters in the very middle of the rolling stone block to represent all the travel back and forth. And the third block you've seen is this lovely, the Lady of the Lake block, Sunsets and Lakes. That's what Michigan has. So I hope to get a little bit further on that, at least by next week. But, neither here nor there. I did get the doll quilt put together. If you follow me on Facebook at all, you've seen pictures of the doll quilt. I know the one corner is lighter, and I don't even care. My great niece won't care. She wouldn't care if it was the ugliest quilt on the planet, because she's almost 3. She won't care. It'll be a quilt for her dolls. I did like the way the border turned out on this little quilt, so I am very pleased. And it is on the big machine, waiting to be quilted. So hopefully I'll get to that this week, but I don't know. It is so nice outside right now. After I'm done here, I'm headed outside with my husband's leaf blower, and I'm going to continue working. I know it's going to get cold, but I'm going to continue working on the flower beds, because nothing that is in those flower beds is so tender that it can't take a little zap of cold when I blow the leaves off. So that's where I'm headed after I'm all done here. But I'm not done yet. I still did more. I finished the Valentine quilt, got the binding on it, but I didn't get the label on yet. So you'll see that when I get the label done. After I was done with that last machine applique by embroidery machine video, I didn't want to look at the embroidery machine for a while. I had had enough fun playing with it, so I didn't make that label like I was supposed to that day. But it's all right. It's all right. It'll get done eventually. I got the car quilt together, all the jewel box blocks on the side, all 20 of them all around, and I did the corner blocks. They are all a little different. I like this fabric. And I dug around in my 1.5-inch strip box, and I found a lot of purples. So I put purple around them, and there they are on the corner. Only one of them has an odd piece of purple that doesn't match the other 3 sides, and that's okay, because it's a scrap quilt, and it's going in my son's car. So he'll love it or he won't. It'll be all right. Nobody will even really notice, I bet. It'll be okay. So I need a 2.5-inch border of purple. And if you look very closely at the picture, there is a piece of purple fabric hanging there. There's already one strip cut. I need to cut 5 more, and then I just need to put them together and put them around the whole thing, and then it is done except for quilting and all that good stuff. So it is hanging up so that I will get to that very soon. I'm very pleased with the way those blocks look. Up close, they look like, wow, lots of color, bleh, lots of color, like a color chart threw up. But at a distance or in a camera, the contrast is fantastic. I love that block. You'll be seeing more of that in the future because it is so easy to put together. So I've been working on the weather blocks for February. If you look behind me, there they all are. I'll move out of the way so you can see them. This was a day when we were staying at someone else's house, and this was when we were at my son's house. I've decided to do different blocks to represent the different places we are, so that when I look at it later in life, I can go, oh, we were at Jeremiah's that day. And oh, it was really cold. So those are most of February's blocks. We're getting there little by little. I'm hoping that by next Friday, hoping that I will have all of February done. But you never know. Life happens sometimes. I have been also, we had a sewing day. My friends and I had a sewing day. And my husband's like, sewing day? You guys don't really sew. You just sit around and talk and eat. Well, that's a little true. We do. We have good food, good desserts, good coffee, lots of fun, lots of discussion. And this time I wasn't hosting, so I wanted to take a little something so it looked like I was working. I took some half square triangle bonus blocks and I trimmed out a little pile. Here you go. Little pile of bonus blocks because I'm starting to run low after making all the Build-A-Block videos that have half square triangles. I need some more. And oh, I have lots more. Take a look at this picture. Yeah, lots more to trim. There you go. And every time I make something new, it seems to have triangles and extras, and I can't throw those away. It's sickness. The last thing I have to talk about today is actually, it goes with the Upskill Mondays that are coming up for quite a while. If you watch Upskill Mondays, on the last episode, I talked about 17 ways to hand applique. Now that sounds like a lot, but I think that the different methods have purposes based on the shapes and the project you're doing. So I am getting ready to do a wall hanging that is applique that uses several of the methods. Several of the methods I have in the works on other projects that I will pull out and show you that you have not seen before. So I am going to get busy with that applique project. I pulled some stuff out. Here's my little bin. I am using this Rose of Sharon book. It has very interesting story. That they used this back in the early 2000s. The whole project, AccuQuilt was involved, and a boutique fabric company, and to raise money for Alzheimer's awareness. And it is a martingale book, so you might be able to get it on the secondary market, but that publishing house is no longer in business. So I picked up the AccuQuilt die on super sale when we were in Williamsburg, Virginia, a couple years ago, and didn't realize I had the book that went with the book. So I'm going to combine forces with those two, and you could use any flower shape. It's not anything super special, but to write the book, they had this big contest, and I'm going to kind of use one of their patterns, because patterns, like recipes, are just suggestions. All the blocks in this book finish at 12 inches. Well, I don't want a 12-inch wall hanging. And the AccuQuilt die I have is for the bigger flowers, not the smaller ones they use in the book. So I'm going to base my wall hanging on the picture in the book, but it will be the way I want it to be and the fabrics I want it to be. Because you can see right here, I've chosen a background that has, they look like little purple snowflakes to me, purple dots, something. And I also have a green gingham for some of the leaves. Not all of the leaves, but some of the leaves, just to give it variety. And then I'm going to go digging through the scraps to pick out some colors. I was talking about preparing my applique, and since I'm not following the pattern, well, it's not really a laid out pattern in the book, it's a picture. And it says to measure between the shapes and multiply by a certain number because it's 1/4 scale or something like that. I understand the directions, but I am choosing not to follow them. And I'm going to make a master pattern for myself. I have some of this laminate that was, it's like 1/2. When you laminate things in a laminating machine, you have 2 rolls of laminating and you put your stuff in between and it squishes it between these hot rollers and gets all the bubbles out. And well, there was a leftover half with a little tiny bit of laminating film and they were just going to chuck it. So I was like, oh wait, I could use that for overlays. And I've used it for laying on top of a quilt and drawing out where I thought I wanted to quilt, like the rough copy. And it works very well for that as a single layer. But I'm going to double it up, and if you iron it, it still has a few little bubbles in, as you can see in my example. But you can write on it with a Sharpie, and the Sharpie does not smear. So I can use my templates that I have, and I can draw my shapes on. I have a light box that I'll be able to put in between my fabric and my lovely pattern and shine the light up through, and I'll be able to make sure that my placement is correct for the whole project. If you don't have a light box, you can use, dare I say it, a window on a bright sunny day. Well, it doesn't even have to, or you can just hold up things in front of a light. I've been known to do that too. So here's one example. You can do it on paper. I never thought these old lesson plans would come in handy, but I flipped it over and used the white side so I could see where I was writing. And voila, they're not fire starter after all. Yeah, lesson plans. Anyway, nothing you plan ever goes the way you think it will, or it doesn't for me. That's why I'm so good at fly by the seat of my pants. So hopefully I will see you on Monday for Upskill Monday, where we will begin working on my applique wall hanging, and I will show you the first of all the methods I talked about, and I called it Grandma's method because my grandmother didn't applique a lot, and the only little bit she ever taught me about applique was this way. And did I do applique? No. That was back when I was young and didn't have patience to do a lot of applique or the prep work, because that prep work is the hardest part. Once you get over the fact that you have to do prep work and you just do it, applique is just hand sewing. Not hard. Just takes a little bit of prep work. That's all there is to it. Anyway, I will see you on Upskill Monday, and I hope you will join in and pick a project to applique. Something little. Start out small. Don't start out really big. Start out small, and it will be a great time had by all. So we will see you later.